Good evening, Demon Phil Comics and More, New Jersey. I'm here with another interview, and we're going to go ahead and get this set up here in just a moment. Want to make sure if we can get some more people, we'll go ahead and jump in here. And if you'll let me know you can see and hear me okay, I'd certainly appreciate that. And then let's definitely start getting this thing shared out. Hey, Wendy, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. All right, just moving some things around here. Hope everyone has had a great day, been able to enjoy themselves just a little bit. I know we can't do a whole bunch, but hey, just the little things count right now. Right, a couple more things getting set up on this end. If y'all go ahead, if you will, please share this out. Let everybody know what's going on with this. We're going to have some fun with this one. I think we're going to have too much fun with this one. It may be my last show. You never know. But hey, going out with a bang, so it's going to be fun. Ed, thank you for being here. All right. All right, we're going to go ahead and start running into this to go ahead and get things set up on this. So let me go ahead and go through and get this started up. All right. Thank you for being here. Demon Phil, Comics and More, New Jersey. You're here for another interview. Hopefully, you're not getting too tired of these because I'm just getting warmed up on these things. But we're having a blast, and why stop now? So, got a great one set up for you tonight. However, I need to go through my sponsor list first because I do have sponsors, and it is so cool that I do, but I need to thank them. So, first off, we have Sub Zero Mission. As everyone knows, that is a huge one to me because they actually save lives. So if you don't know anything about them, please look on my wall. If you don't see the information there, reach out to me, find out what you can do to help because they actually go during the winter months in their area to go ahead and save homeless veterans that are out there. And yeah, it's a big deal. So very big deal. I have Totally Rad Comics is also sponsoring us. Third Empire, which if you're not familiar with Third Empire, Mojo Rising is going to be released on Kickstarter June 2nd. Get your mojo on. Get ready to hear that a lot over the next week. Just a thought. We got Codex Entertainment, who is going ahead and doing this as well, which is actually they're doing Lily the Demoness #4, and I believe that comes out in July, if I'm not mistaken. I will get the necessary information and get that corrected if need be. 183 Degree Studios, and if you don't know who that is, you should. That is actually Kara Nicole and Alpha Trujillo. That is right now their big one is Confessions of a Cosplay Diva. If you don't know what that is, you need to go over to Kickstarter and jump on that bad boy. That is something you do not want to miss out on. And then finally, we have another sponsor, and I am happy to announce this one because this one has been in the makings for quite some time, and we've been talking about a reveal. And sure enough, we have that. So if you see the, let me see if I can get her over here. You see this over here in the corner? Girl up here with the pizza box, and she's wearing the apron. We're going to go ahead and thank Pantsless Pizza for being our sponsor. Now, in thanking Pantsless Pizza, I can't really thank Pantsless Pizza without thanking the man who came up with the idea of Pantsless Pizza. We're going to go ahead and bring him out right now. It's Dr. Russell Allen.
This is, hold on, we got to figure this out. This is a pants-free zone. $500 fine.
Absolutely. Russell, thank you for being here. I certainly appreciate it. And we just announced that Pantsless Pizza is our newest sponsor. So it's fitting that that happened at the exact same time that I have you on the show. So definitely happy to have you here on this one.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, it was just a matter of time before we got you on. That everybody knew that. Now, for those of you out there that don't know who he is or anybody else who's going to be watching this, Russell, if you'll go ahead and take a moment to go ahead and say who you are and where to find you.
I'm Russell Allen. You can find me on Facebook. You can add me as a friend. You can also find me at Rust Explode Studios, Books with Heart, and my new website that will be linked to my page later tonight, Xenonanonite Titan.com.
And there is that website right there. So in case you needed to catch the name of that one, and I do have the links attached in the videos as well. So whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, they're attached directly in, so you'll be able to see those. And you can click directly on to go to them as well. All right, so I've got a few questions for you. First and foremost, we want to go ahead, for those that aren't familiar with the story of Pantsless Pizza, we need to go ahead and get this out in the open and go ahead and fulfill this reveal that we're doing here. And no, I'm not standing up, so don't anybody worry about that one. So Pantsless Pizza, Russell, you want to go ahead and tell the story on how we came about that?
So Pantsless Pizza, we were on Artist Alley Shopping Network one night, just joking around, and Heather had gotten some pizza out of the oven for you guys to sit down and enjoy your dinner. So I thought it'd be funny to say, hey, I'm hanging outside your window, throw me a bone. And you're like, hey, man, what if I wasn't wearing pants? And I was like, that's all right. It's just pantsless pizza. And so, the next day I may have photoshopped your live show logo with you having a pantsless pizza hat on and Heather having a chef hat on, since she's the one that makes the pizza. I mean, it was only fitting.
Absolutely. And there have been other Photoshops since then, and it's all been in fun. And every time
What's
he's
going
run
on,
it
Lewis?
past me just to make sure everything is okay. But yeah, they've been great. And hey, Lewis, what's up? And Tiffany, thank you for being here. I think I missed your name on there as well, but thank you for being here. So, yes, that's how Pantsless Pizza came about. And this is just the start of Pantsless Pizza. You're going to start seeing a lot more things going along with this. And thank you, Russell, for coming up with that idea. And it's almost like him seeing his little pantsless baby growing up and becoming an adult. It's kind of messed up in
Right
saying
there.
that, but yeah. All right, so so how did
It's
you
like on
get
Tommy
started?
Boy where he's like, I've got a roll and I'm gonna make it my baby and I'm gonna love it and I'm gonna pet it and then I'm gonna squeeze it and then I'm gonna ah!
Classic Chris Farley.
Classic Chris Farley.
Now, how did you get started in comics?
So I guess back in 2012 I started writing a couple of books actually. I finished one and I partially finished another book. And I was like, nah, I don't really like the direction that these are going. I don't really want to start out with these books as like my first book that I put out there. So I went to the drawing board and I came up with Xenonanite Titan. And so I started writing it over the course of several years, coming up with rough drafts of what I wanted to do with it. And I bounced back and forth between doing a comic book style book or just actually doing a novel, which is moreover where I'm leaning now, is doing a novel with, illustrations throughout it. Then in 2015, when well, it was actually 2014, and the week before Christmas, when we went in to do our growth on Little Man, before he was born, they found he had a heart defect. So after that, things kind of, I was like, well, I don't really have time for this, because we were going once, twice, 3 times a week to do fetal echoes to find out, how everything was going with his heart. And then in 2015, in March, when he was born, they said, yeah, he's going to have open heart surgery at a week old. So I took my computer up there. I was like, well, I'll keep writing the book. And it's one of those things where it's kind of like writer's block. You go into this depression and you're like, I'm not in the mood to do this. I had every intent to do it, but it's like, it's not really, I'm not feeling it right now. So I was like, I'm going to just set it aside. I've got more things to worry about right now. I can't really focus on it. And so things kept happening. My wife ended up having to have surgery a few years ago and then Roderick had another open heart surgery, and he's had 3 cardiac casts throughout. We had open heart surgery in 2017, whenever it was the week after Thanksgiving. So that following Monday after Thanksgiving, he had open heart surgery. We spent a week and a half in the hospital. And then we were on quarantine all the way through New Year's, and, dealing with stuff like that. I just, over the last 5 years, I've just haven't really felt it. And then in January, if you don't know me, some of my close friends know that Thanks, Steph. Some of my close friends know that I went into the hospital and they actually found a mass on my liver. So they ordered an MRI the following week and they found that the mass on my liver was benign, but that I also had a mass in between my spine and my lungs. So they ordered a PET scan towards the end of January, and my doctor, of course, of all times, just like when Roderick was born, his open heart surgeon was on vacation for a week. Well, I find this stuff out, and the guy that orders the PET scan is like, well, I'm going to be on vacation for the next 15 days, but I'll make sure you get the results right away. So we got all this stuff going on and we're freaking out. And we sat down Saturday morning. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I just got done cooking breakfast, and we sat down on the table, and everybody sat down, and we had our plates in front of us. And I seen, a test result has come in, and it popped up on my phone. And I was like, oh, it's just blood work. There's no way that the PET scan could be back now. I just had it yesterday at 3 o'clock. And I got on there, and it's like, significant evidence of malignancy. So my heart dropped, And so over the span of, that month, I started, going over what do I regret the most. And one of the biggest things I regretted was not finishing my book. I mean, it's something that meant a lot to me. I've always been into creative writing, and everybody knows how creative I am. And so it was one of my biggest regrets. I thought, now that I have time to be home and write the book, I can make use of this time and take my mind off the stuff that's going on and actually put my mind to the book and get it done, And then the car accident happened at the beginning of March, and my wrist, so I wasn't able to write. So I kind of went on a hiatus again. But it's been a long project over the span of, 8 years of several rough drafts, several attempts at writing this. And it's like, this time I'm like, I'm going to do it for real. That way I have something creative. That's right. So, that way I have something on the back burner all the time. I'm not looking to get rich off of this. I'm not looking to make a bunch of money. I'm looking to tell a story, make people happy. What I do make off of the book, I have every intention of putting up for when Roderick has more open heart surgeries, or, anytime that I have to take off work to be able to stay home and take care of him, because we're only a single income family. My wife quit working to stay at home and take care of him, because with having a high risk child, you don't really want to send him to the babysitter or to a daycare where there's viruses and stuff running rampant, and they don't really know how to take care of a heart child. They don't know, how to look out for anything that could be him breathing weird, him being tired. They'll just think, oh, he's tired. But, us knowing him and being with him every day, we know everything about him. So that was one of our big things. We sat down and said, this is what we're going to do. You stay home and take care of him. I'll work, and we'll make things happen. So, like I said, with this book, I'm looking to get it out there, get it published, prove to the world that I can do it against all odds. Everything that's happened over the last 5 years, I'm doing it because I believe that much in my story. And what I do make off of it, like I said, I'm going to put up for, future surgeries for little man, so we're not high and dry if I end up having to take off several months. And also part of it, I'm going to donate back to CB4K, which is a great organization. They donate comic books to hospitals for kids that are having cancer treatments, that are terminally ill, that may never get to go home again. And being a parent that sees this stuff firsthand, that your son just had open heart surgery and he's laying there in bed and in excruciating pain, you don't know how to help him, and the nurse brings in a simple toy from Dollar Tree or a simple $3 book, and the smile and the light on their face that you see from it. And it's like, knowing that firsthand, I really do believe in these charities that giving back to them. So not only parents like me, but other parents of kids like Roderick, or other kids, that have cancer and stuff that are in the hospital having these treatments, can have that same joy in their life.
Absolutely. Now, the book that you're using to do that, and the funnel that you're using to go ahead and get into that and give that joy, is Xenonanite Titan. I'm having to train myself how to say that.
Xenonanite Titan.
Okay, Xenonanite Titan. There we go. I think I got that right.
There.
So, what is the book about?
Well, we can't go into too many details about it. So the basic premise of the character Raziel Stevens, he's a scientist and he's working on a project to help better society. And things happen, and that's about all I can say right now.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Now, what did you use for inspiration to come up with the idea for the book?
Well, I'm kind of like an all around. I watch, I read, I play. I'm pretty much all around, like almost everything. I've always been big into games ever since I was younger. I do a lot of gaming. One of my favorite games as a kid in high school, was Xenogears. And it was a great PS1 game. I mean, you're talking like 150 plus hours of gameplay. It's kind of like Final Fantasy, but what draws me in on the games is a story, like God of War and Doom. You can have a great game and you can have fun gameplay, but if the story's trash, you have no motivation to keep playing it. Over time, the gameplay gets old, it gets crusty, and you don't want to play it anymore. And I really like these games that have a great story to them, because when the gameplay gets a little bit rusty, the story draws you back in. One of my biggest inspirations book wise is Brian Jakes. I mean, the Redwall series is one of my favorite book series ever. Mossflower, Redwall, and I think don't quote me on this, I think there's like 17 books in the series, and he passed away about 10 years ago, but every book was great. Um, he was one of those great storytellers. You get into the book, you start reading it, and there wasn't always so much of a hook as they introduce these characters, and it's like, I really want to know more about this character. And you never knew where the story was going until about halfway through it. And I thought that was really interesting. Most books, they give you the hook. Oh, there's this looming doom, and find out what happens. Well, there's a problem with that for me, because like with movies and books and stuff like that, when you figure out what that looming doom is at the beginning, usually the first half an hour I can tell what's going to happen. And I'm always telling my wife, I'm like, oh, this is what's going to happen, movie over. Oh no, that's not what's going to happen. And then that's what happens. I was like, see, told you. And that's what was great about these books, because there wasn't a hook. It was, here's this character, and here's what's happening to the character, and here's where this is going. Follow me on the journey and find out what happens to them. And that, I really, really liked that, because every book was a surprise. Every single book. It wasn't like I knew what was going to happen at the end, because there were some books where the hero died. There were some books where the hero won. There were some books where they didn't win. And you never knew where they were going to take you, but because it was lacking that hook at the beginning. But the information on the character was so interesting that you couldn't put the book down. It'd be 1:00 in the morning, and you're like, "Oh man, I one more chapter. I got to know what happens." And it's like, then it's like 3:00 in the morning. You're like, "Oh man, there went the night. I might as well just stay up and go to school."
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
that's what I like. I mean, I really loved his books, and if you look at them, you see the covers. They're real kind of cartoonish looking, and his books were based on animals. So like Martin the Warrior was a warrior mouse. And it sounds kind of corny, but if you would pick up the first book and read Mossflower, you would fall in love with it. It is a great series. I mean, I just can't speak any more highly of his books. They're absolutely great. And I've always been big in anime. Full Metal Alchemist is one of my favorite animes. Um, I also like Attack on Titan, and there's several others that I put on the website that were kind of inspirations for me in the story. Uh,
Now, I'm going to do a share screen on here real quick because I want to bring up your website because I wanted to talk about some of the artists that you've got involved in this. Because you've shown some of the pictures, now we're going to go ahead and show a little more on that and talk about that. Pay no attention to the labyrinth that never ends. There we go. So you can see this, correct?
Yeah.
So we have this one up
So the
here.
first one, that one is Steph Wilson. So kind of what I did with all the art was I was like, this is the basis for my character. This is what I'm looking for. How do you interpret my character? I didn't want I had a little bit of a basis that I wanted. I mean, the magma sword, the color scheme, but as far as the suit, I had a basis, but I'm like, do with it what you want. I mean, I wanted it to be like you were reading the book. I gave you a little bit of information on the character. How did you see the character? Because I didn't want everybody just drawing the same thing. And
Right.
that's what's cool about reading a book is when you don't have that illustration like you do in a comic book, you have to use your imagination and you have to say, well, what would I envision this character that I'm reading about? How would he look? And I think they all did a great job. The first one is Steph Wilson's. Um, And then the second one, that one is Wendy Steen Shaner's, which turned out amazing. I love the explosions in the background, by the way.
Exactly.
And then the third one, that one was done by Chris McJunkin. That one's actually hand colored, not digital. And then you have, of course, the black and white one down below of the same art. And
Hmm.
then the art that you were just on a second ago, that was done by Finn Edwards, also known as Finney the Great, is where you can find them on Facebook. And I told them, I was like, basically, I want this to be an anime style piece. So everybody had their own element. Like, Steph draws in his creative way. And then, everybody has their own specific Steph Wilson drew.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I want to point this out because Russell showed me a picture of this, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that's a Steph Wilson? Are you sure that's a Steph Wilson?" It is. It's greatly done. I mean, it is. It looks great and everything. It's not the normal style that he normally does, and it's very interesting to see a different style on there.
Yeah, it is. Um, it was really interesting. Steph's like, "You want me to do what?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I want you to do this. Do it in the way you want to." And originally, he had created something. I don't know if he was thinking what I wanted, and then he's like, "No, I'm going to scrap that. You want what I would draw, right? And my style." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I want. I want your style. How do you perceive the character? This is just a guideline. I want to see what you can come up with." I also have a few more pieces that haven't come in yet that are to be worked on or are in the process of being worked on, and I may or may not show those at a later time. I might keep those a secret. I'm also working on a piece myself. We'll see how that turns out. And
I got to put this up.
I appreciate that stuff. I mean, we got to keep it family friendly. I
that,
mean,
that
the
it
book
does.
isn't so much going to be family friendly, but we can keep the art that way
Well,
anyway.
it does kind
Try.
of make it a an exclusive for you in a way because that's definitely a very different Steph Wilson cover on there.
Yes, it is a very different Steph Wilson
I
cover.
mean,
That's for
all of them
sure.
look absolutely amazing. It's just Steph's is the only one that's completely throwing everybody off because they automatically are like Steph and they want to see circles. And I know whenever Russell showed that to me, I was like, that's not Steph. And then I saw the moon in the back and it has a perfect circle, like a half circle in there. And I was like, yeah, that's Steph. Okay, I'll go with that. But it was a great job on all the art that's on there and definitely looking forward to that. Now, this book it's not a comic, it's a novel, correct?
Yes, it is a novel. I
Okay.
eventually down the road. So my main goal with the book is the way I have it wrote out is I'm going to do it in a 3-part series. The first book's basically going to be explaining the character and the backstory to the character, how the character came to be. Um, it's not. It's going to be like a sci-fi book, pretty much. I mean, which you can tell from the art, but it's going to have the feel of a lot of different books. I mean, I'm a big believer in uh, having twists and turns, loss. I mean, like Up. Let's talk about the movie Up. That was one of
Mhm.
the hardest movies I've ever had to watch. Like the first 10 minutes made me cry like a baby. And I'm not afraid to admit it. It was just really sad to me because it was something that really felt deep down to me was, you know, at the beginning of the movie, they plan on saving up for this big trip that when they get, they're going to go on this big trip. Well, then life happens to them. And so they keep saving up and keep saving up. Well, then slowly that jar gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And that dream that they had their whole life just gets thrown out the window. And then she gets sick and dies. And so, you know, it's like, that's really sad. And so, you know, it's my goal to bring that kind of empathy with my character when there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but I don't want you just to read about my character. I want you to feel my character. I want you to feel what it would be like to be in their shoes. And, you know, that's what I mean by books with heart. It kind of has a double meaning. Not only am I going to use the funds from these books to help support our family through my son's various open heart surgeries and procedures he has to go through, but I really mean I'm going to put my heart into everything I can into writing these. And
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this. You've got amazing talent in your artistic team that's in there. You've got Finn, you've got Chris, you've got Steph, and you've got Wendy. So I know that after working with, you know, your A game team that you've got here and everything, just want to ask, as far as a wish list, who is the one artist that you would like to be able to work with on a future project, possibly?
well, I thought about there's kind of two more artists that I haven't asked. Well, actually three that I haven't asked. When I sat down to do this book and I got like halfway through the book for the first book, I wrote down a list. These are the artists that I want to ask. You know, I had Wendy on there, CB, Steph Wilson, Ed Williams, Finn Edwards, um, Jason Sue. That's another one that's being worked on right now. Uh, the other three that were on the list that I never really got the gumption up to ask is Ryan Kincaid, Don McTeague, and Dan Fraga. I absolutely love Dan Fraga's art, and I think his art style would be a phenomenal take on my character. And you know, Bloodstrike, a lot of his Bloodstrike covers. I'm not trying to take away from any of the covers that I've had done so far because they are all beautiful.
Oh yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
so happy with the way they turned out with. But if I had to pick that one that I've kind of idolized since the 90s when he was doing Image Comics, and I would have to say that was Dan Fraga. Now, I did ask him, but with him doing the Black Flag, you know, Indiegogo, he's bringing back Black Flag back from the 90s and kind of reintroducing it into the comic book world. He was like, man, I just don't have time right now. I'm really flattered that you would ask me. I just don't have time. So maybe, you know, on a future book when he doesn't have a big project going on, I would definitely like to add him to the list of artists, you know, to do art for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, you do. You have a power team that you're working on right now, and that's a good wish list you've got going on there as well. So I mean, you've got aspirations for the future, which is always good. So you were talking about some of the stuff that you liked as far as like the 90s and stuff. So that brings me into my next question is what do you like to collect?
I like to collect a lot. I like to collect comic books. I mean, we all know that. Everybody knows I'm huge into Vampirella. I have quite the massive Vampirella collection. Video games. I mean, like I said before, you know, I've been gaming since I was a kid. I still have my regular Nintendo and a ton of games for the regular Nintendo. My Genesis, I probably have like 300 Genesis games. Genesis 32-bit, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, I still have Xenogears for PlayStation 1. I love that game. If you like stick figures, so, and movies. I mean, that's another thing I collect. I probably have like probably at least over 1,000 movies that I've amassed over the years. Not just Blu-ray. I mean, DVD. There are a lot of them. I still have probably 200 and something VHS tapes. Because some movies they've never transferred over to a digital media platform, so you got to bust out the VCR every once in a while and pray to God that it still works. Because you used to be able to get them mixed in with, I mean, they were still making them here a few years ago. You could get a Blu-ray player, VHS combo. And I was like, one of these days I'm going to buy one of those when I think about it. And then now they don't make them anymore. And if they do, they're probably like $300-400. So I got to get out Old Faithful, my Panasonic VHS player from like 1991 that I got from Bud's Discount.
Nice. That's whenever you go old school on that and be kind and rewind. Oh no,
That's
I'm sorry.
right.
I don't work for Blockbuster anymore. I don't have to say that.
Well, hey, there's still one open, so you can go work for that one if you
Yeah, the
know.
one and only. I know. Yeah, I know. Oh,
If you're ever
trust me.
feeling nostalgic, you know.
If I could have stayed with one company and one company only, that would have been the one that I would have just finished out the whole thing. So I loved working for Blockbuster. That was my my fun time in my life. We'll put it that way. But now you've mentioned some of the things you like to collect and everything. So let me ask you this: as far as your collection and your things that you're doing and all, is there what's your grail? What's your ultimate?
As far as my collection goes,
Yes, yes.
well, I finally managed to get one of my Grail books, and that was A Vengeance of Vampirella 1 blue foil, which is like really hard to find because it's kind of one of those books that wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be a gold second print, and they're like, oh, we don't have any more gold foil, so let's print it in blue. And so it was kind of like they went against the grain and did something that was kind of naughty, and they didn't know how it was going to work out, and it actually ended up blowing up. So they're like, hey, let's do blue foil from now on. Well, out of 100 copies that were printed, there's only like 12 in the CGC census, and I think there's like one or two that are graded in the CBCS census. And the problem with that is some of the ones on CGC are actually the green foil second print, which I know for a fact because I have 2 green foils that were CGC'd as blue foils. So
Hmm.
that technically with those 2, there's really only 10. And so who knows outside of those 15-ish books of the actual raw copies actually exist. And so they're when they go up for sale, I mean, even if they're astronomical prices, they're like gone. And so that kind of killed my grails off for a little while. As far as my grails now for to collect is I'm basically trying to collect the original Vampirella, the Warren series from 1969. I'm kind of starting out. I got one a little over a year ago, and then I've got 2 and 3 now. So I'm gonna work my way up. I have several that are kind of in between, like 80 and 10 and 102, 103. You know, I've got them scattered everywhere. But my next goal is to start out where I need it from number 4 and just slowly as I can find the best, raw copy and actually have it graded myself, or find a decent graded price, book at a decent price and complete the original series.
Yeah, because you enjoy having a lot of slabs with this as well.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you've kind of you had my jaw dropped whenever you kept sending pictures that one night of all the stuff that you were going through at the time, and I was just over here going, wow. And just whenever I thought that you were done, you would look over and go, well, if you're not tired of seeing this, I've got more. If you want to see more, I'm like, are you serious? There's more.
Yeah, this past weekend was a chore. I rebagged like 500 slabs from the crappy CGC bags over to the BCW, the polypropylene bags with the self-sealing on them because they look so much better. The other bags are real cloudy looking. These are like crystal clear. And boy, did I bite off more than I could chew. I got that huge order in on Friday of like, I think I got 12 graded bins and 13 standard raw bins. And so I brought everything upstairs and had a mountain around me. And I'm like, well, the only way I'm getting out of this is to dig my way out and actually go through these. A lot of reasons I don't slab every book that I get. Just like I'll slab the Warren books just to preserve them because you get a lot of them that start to bronze and they bronze along the edges and you get that rusty off-white color that bleeds into the pages from moisture and stuff, no matter how well you bag them. And at least with when they're slabbed, they're sealed within that inner well. And just because I like to display them out on the wall, you know. And so as far as other books go, like the ones that I was sending you pictures of nonstop, those I graded because I didn't buy the book for the book itself. I bought the book for the cover. I mean, it's all about the art. And I want to know that if it falls off the wall, that it's not going to take a huge corner ding, or, you know, it's going to put a huge fold in the middle of the book. I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen is going to crack the slab, and then, well, I'll just get it reholdered, and at least the book's still protected. So a lot of my slabs are basically variant covers outside of like the foil covers and stuff like that of the Vengeance of Vampirella, just because those are key parts of my collection.
Now, I want to go ahead and touch on the fact that for those of you that are in here that don't know, you should know Russell for one thing. If you know Russell and myself, being in a group is another thing. Russell, myself, Steph, and a few other key ones. Yeah, we tend to be in the naughty corner, shall we say, on a regular basis, especially in the doghouse. Uh, but Russell, I'm going to do something that's very dangerous now. I actually want to delve into the brain a little bit, and I'm probably going to regret this. You come up with some amazing one-liners just out of nowhere on a whim, quicker than I can imagine to even. I'm sitting here looking at the keyboard trying to think of something to type, and you've already typed out 2 or 3 paragraphs worth of stuff. And I'm like, well, I can't use anything that I was coming up with because he's already right there on top of it. And it's fun trying to keep up with that. And you create the tempo and everything on there. So my question is, how do you always keep it where it's always constantly in the on position?
I that's how I've been ever since I was a kid. I love clowning around. I've always been a jokester, a prankster. I do it to my wife all the time. She's given up. I mean, we've been together since 04, so we've been together 16 years. We've been married for 8, and I mean, like the first 5 years, she always tried to pull one over on me, and she finally is just like, if anybody even gets started with me, she's like, you might as well stop now, because once you get him going, there's no stopping. And I just, you know, the one thing I want people to understand is if you ever see me in a show or on a live show and I start typing crazy stuff out, I always mean it in good humor. I don't ever do it to spite anybody or to hurt anybody's feelings. And I'm sorry if anything I've ever put has been taken that way. But once you get to know me, it's like you expect it from me. And if I don't, either I no longer have a pulse, or I lost connection, or, you know, like the other night when I was on CB's show, I wasn't very talkative because I was dealing with the fiasco with my book. The program that I'm writing it in updated and reformatted my book, so all the chapters blended together on the same page. So like where chapter 1 would end, chapter 2 moved up onto the same page, and then it messed my margins up. And I got on there and I was like, oh, what am I going to do with you? And so it it put it back to 8.5 by 11 instead of 6 by 9, and we won't talk about it. So a night that I went downstairs, I'm like, hey, I'm really feeling the groove tonight. I'm gonna write and I'm gonna listen in on CB show. Turned into, I'm gonna spend the next 3 hours messing around with the computer and just give it up and say screw it. I'm gonna deal with it on another day because I don't feel like messing with this right now.
Exactly, exactly.
So
Now,
I don't know how I keep it in the on position. You know, I like to have fun, and my main thing is like if I have a really bad day, it makes it a good day when I can bring laughter to others. I mean, I take joy and pride in doing that, and so if I can make a few people laugh at the end of the day, no matter how bad of the day I have, it makes my day. So
yeah, and you've actually done that to several people, and this is one of them that you have definitely had some fun with.
oh man, I might have to bust out some freaking DJ Russ Explode in here. Eve's on.
There are
Wah,
so many
wah, wah.
inside jokes with different people. I don't think I can even keep up with who all is dealing with what. I know mine is the pantsless thing. That's all I know.
Well, see, that's the thing too. I have like an elephant memory. You know, I can remember stuff from like 10 years ago, and it works really good being married, because when my wife is like, "Oh yeah, well, you did this the other day," I'm like, "Well, 14 years ago you did this, and then you did this a year after that, and then you did this. And how is that any worse than what I happened the other day? I didn't do it on purpose." And she's like, "Whatever, I hate you."
And Eve is busting out with it already here. Here we go.
Yeah. Here we go. Bow wow. Wiki 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 wow wow. Wiki wiki wiki.
And if you're not familiar with what's going on with this, all I can say is tune into some shows. You definitely need to tune in to Unscripted on Saturdays. I
Yeah,
will
so
give
you
a
get
shameless plug on that one. That one gets fun.
yeah, so see, this all started because we got on there and she was talking about that story about the one time she was at an EDM club, and she was like, the music was all like bow bow, hiss, squeak, wiki wiki wiki. And I'm like, "Whoa, what was that? Can you repeat that for us? How'd that go again? Bow bow, wiki 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 wiki." Yeah. So, you know, it's been a running joke ever since then.
Absolutely. Now, I've been on several shows with you, and of course, we keep mentioning the Doghouse, which again, shameless plug right now. 50th episode is coming up at 10 o'clock, so very shortly they will be on their 50th episode, which is a milestone. So if you're not part of the Doghouse, get on it. You need to be in there. You definitely need to be in the Doghouse, and Russell will agree with me on that one. But we have a lot of fun in a lot of the ones that are in there, but we always keep it respectful. Fun is one thing, but it's never disrespectful. And one thing that I will point out, and most everyone that's in here should know this. I don't know everyone that's in here, but most everyone and everyone that will be watching this, that Russell would give you the shirt off his back. I mean, he's that kind of guy as well. So it's not anything like whenever I say he was sending those pictures to me of his collection, it was never like, ha ha ha, look what I got. You don't have this, nanner, nanner. No, he kept sending messages going, are you sure you're okay with, do you want to see more? Are you okay? I'm over here basically crying and have my mouth open, just and drool all over the place. But I couldn't stop because I love seeing it and living vicariously through what he has over there. But great, above and beyond, great guy. So I just want to go ahead and point that out.
Art's too beautiful not to share. I mean, what's the point of owning beautiful art if you can't share it with people? I mean, I love seeing other people's collections. I don't ever try to show off stuff and be like, "Oh, look, check out, look what I got." It's like, I love seeing other people's collections as well. And I will. I'll give you the shirt off my back if you need it.
I may be asking for pants though. My thing is that I never have enough pants. I don't know. There's something wrong with
No,
that.
you cannot ask for pants. If you did not notice the sign, this is a no pants zone. $500 fine. If you violate it again, that's $1,000. Just so you know.
So
I gotta get used to this backwards camera nonsense.
exactly.
Which way do I go, George? Which way do I go?
Russell's over there. Ha 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 ha. See, I got it right the first time.
No, I'm not.
So when do we expect seeing Xenonanonite Titan?
So my goal for the Xenonanite Titan is to do a fall winter kickstart. I'm looking for probably by November. So I mean, there's a lot of factors involved in this. As you know, the situation with my son, they put his appointments off because of COVID, and my stuff's been put off because of COVID. We still don't know anything about the mass on my spine. The mass on my liver's been giving me a heck of a time. The last month I've been off and on in between being in excruciating pain to where I'm just going to lay in bed this weekend. I don't feel like doing anything, to the point of I'm just going to push myself and do the stuff because it's got to be done. Aside from, the normal stuff popping up around here and, trying to get back into the doctor and getting something dealt with this, I'm going to try to push for finishing the book up writing wise by June, get it sent in for the copyright and proofing and all that nonsense, and then finish. Hopefully by then I'll have the rest of the art in to where I can get everything formatted, give me a couple of months to put a Kickstarter together, get some ideas of things to do for stretch goals. And I intend to try to get it done before November. So like maybe, September, but I'm giving myself November just in the off chance I get a month slip up with something with Roderick, because stuff with him is so weird. Like we went in 17 and in September, and they're like, "Oh yeah, everything looks great." And then they said we need to go in and do a cardiac cath and widen the stent in his aorta. We're like, okay, he had a catheterization done when he was 11 months old. He had another one in between there. No big deal. I mean, it is a big deal because the open heart room has to be open for them to do it, but it's fairly simple. We're usually home the next day. And they come out of that and they're like, "Oh yeah, we didn't really get it ballooned as big as we want, but we think we're pretty happy with the results, and we're scheduling open heart surgery for next month." And we're like, "What? Wait, whose kid are you talking about? Because we were just at the doctor 2 weeks ago, and you're like, oh, until he's 4 or 5. He's like 2. How do we go from 3 years from now to next month and like, oh, well, this is going on?" And there's just so many factors. So I want to leave myself that extra cushion in case something happens in between. And there's a chance that it may get pushed out past that. I'm just really, in my mind, I want to be done by November, no later than that.
And that sounds like a great time to have it come out and everything. And it looks like you've got a ton of people that are already in here, myself included, that will definitely be backing this and doing what we can to go ahead and help you out with that as well. So whenever you're ready to put, hit that trigger on that, we're all here ready for you too.
Well, and I really appreciate that. I mean, with everything that's been going on this year, I mean, everybody struggles with depression and no motivation. You get into this funk where you don't feel like doing anything. And I fell hard into it, with them pushing off Roderick's appointment. It had been, since September. We knew he had this blockage, and it's like now we don't know where it's at. The stuff that's going on with me, and then the car accident happened. I already missed two months of work, and we were hurting already as it was. Now I don't have a vehicle to even get to work, even if I would try, and I'm missing another month. And so the only thing that really kept me sane during all that was getting on and joking with you guys, and that's the nice thing about these live shows. They really help a lot, and you never know the hurt that people are going through in the background. And I'm not trying to get sympathy for it. I'm just saying, we need to try to be nice to each other. You never know what another person's going through. And, I think we have a great group for that. I think we have a great group of people that we can reach out to and say, "Hey, I'm having a bad day. Here's what's going on." And they're just not going to be like, "Oh, well, that sucks. I'm busy, whatever, go away." A lot of these people are, "Hey, what's going on? What's wrong?" If you need somebody to talk to, I'm available all day. And that's what we need. We need people to take the time out of their day and say, "Hey, what's going on? I haven't seen you on in a while." I mean, and that's the type of people we have. They notice, "Hey, has anybody seen Russell for a while? He hasn't been on all week. Has anybody heard from him?" We have that group that people are going to ask questions and say, "Hey, is everything okay?" "Oh yeah, I just been working on my book," and it could be something small like that. And I'm not saying, me in particular, I'm just using me as an example, but that's the kind of group we have. And that's the kind of people we need in this industry.
Well, I'm putting up a bunch of comments here that are just coming through that are
I love
telling
it
you
too,
right there
Radar.
that you are not alone, because they just keep coming through. I mean, yeah, there's some good stuff in here. Now, I will agree with this right here, Ed Williams, because I'm thinking the exact same way, Ed. I want an autographed copy with all the artist signatures. Absolutely, yes. I will completely agree on that.
And sorry if I'm missing all your guys' comments. I don't know if you guys know, but with StreamYard, I only see the comments that Phil puts up. So I'm trying to do the interview and look at the phone at the same time. So hi, Nathan. Hi, Steph. Hi, Lewis. Hi, Mary. Hi, Eve. Hi, Wendy. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry if I missed anybody. And I appreciate you guys all being here tonight. I really do. It means a lot to me because I'm just no different than any other Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. I'm just a guy writing a book to anybody in the world right now. And it feels good to have people out there that believe in me, that say, "Hey, I want to know more about what this guy's got going on in the back," And I really do. It makes me feel good about myself, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I completely agree on that. Yeah. And yeah, there's still comments coming through. So, I mean, a ton of support that's in here already. And I'm sure you've got even more support outside of here. So, whatever you're doing is definitely working. So, whatever you think that you may not be doing or whatever, you're doing it just fine. So, you're doing just fine the way you are. Keep being the person you are, and we're all good with you.
Well, see, I'm
Yeah,
my own worst enemy. That's one of my biggest downfalls. I'm super creative and I can come up with good stuff, but I'm the first person to knock myself down about everything. I could create the most beautiful thing. Like I built both of my kids their toy boxes. I would burn their names into it, stained them, built them all by hand without instructions and everything. And I'm like, these look like garbage. And like now I look at them, 4 years later, I'm like, man, those turned out awesome. But in that moment when I'm making that, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna look like crap. And I don't know how to get myself out of that. I've just always been that way. And that's where my wife comes in and is good about it. And she's like, stop being so hard on yourself. Like she's like, I don't know why you're being so critical. You're doing a great job on what you're doing. Just keep doing it. And I'm like, I don't know how. I'm like, to me, I go back and read this, and I'm a perfectionist, I guess you could say. I want everything to be perfect, and it's those little flaws that make a person, and I should just get used to that. I just can't. It's just one of those things.
there's a ton of comments that are coming through here. So, you've got the respect. That's not an issue there. And this shows a lot for the indie community on how we support each other and how it's not always about, I've always said 100 times over on my shows about the support does not always mean financial. And this shows it right here because this is not financial. I mean, I'm not getting paid for this. You're not getting paid for this. But the payment that you're getting off of this right now is much more than financial, I'm sure.
Well, and it means a lot to me too. I mean, I'm. It's nice to see all these comments rolling in because it helps to keep me from feeling like I'm doing this for nothing. Um, here I am writing a book, and I'm worried in the long run. Is this something I'm going to be able to push? Which either way, I'm going to publish it just because I just want to say hi to myself and be like, all those times you said this was never going to happen. Well, look, it's in your hands right now. Look what you created. And it's kind of not just for me too. It's for my son. I want him to know that even though he has all these walls in his life with having the heart issues, there's a lot of stuff in this world that he can't do. We drive the other day, for example, and it breaks my heart. We live 10 miles from Six Flags. We drive by, and Adriana, my daughter, is like, Daddy, I really want to go there. Can we go there? And Roger goes, I'm sorry, sissy, we can't go there. Uh, it's because of my heart. And I told him, I said, Roderick, it's fine. We have other things that we do. It's not because of your heart. It's because I say that we do things as a family or we don't do them at all. And that's just the type of person I am. I don't want Roderick to ever feel like he's left out. I don't want Roderick to ever feel like he can't do anything in his life. And so this isn't just for me. This is for him to show him that, anything that you want to do in your life, even though there's restrictions and there's walls that are put up in front of you, you just got to keep pushing and do it anyway.
And that's absolutely, I mean, that's great advice to have on there. Absolutely. I completely agree. And it looks like Michael just joined us. Michael, thank you for being here.
What's going on, Mike?
I mean, you've got a ton of stuff that's going on, and you're still pushing out a book, which is amazing that you're doing that and going through all of this and still pushing that hard to go ahead and get that done. It's inspiration for everybody. It really is. So the main thing is whenever this thing comes out, we're going to need this thing to come out big. I mean, it's got to have that Russell panache to it, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's one of the big things that I'm really looking into. I want to do hardcover. I love hardcover books. Those are my. I always, when I was a kid, I looked at hardcover books and I'm like, those are stupid because you can't put very many of them on a bookshelf. Because I've got a ton of books, like literally, like when I was in third grade. By the time I was in fourth grade, I probably had like 150 books. Like I've always read since I was a kid, you know, and through the summer I'd read hundreds and hundreds of books from the library, and that's no joke. Like, I think my freshman year I read 167 books because they draw names for Cardinals tickets every year for the kids through the summer, that through the reading program. And every time you checked out a book, and they're like, yeah, you know, your name was in there 167 times. I'll never forget that. I was like, really? I couldn't have read that many books. And it's like, oh yeah, well, you read all these books, you know. Of course, that was big when Animorphs was out too, and those books were awesome. I mean, who didn't want to pretend that you could change into an animal and save the world? And so I want to do it hardcover. I mean, now I look at hardcovers and I'm like, man, those are beautiful. And I'm really looking at doing, to keep with the tradition of my favorite book, Vampirella, go against the grain and do blue foil for the title. I think it'll look awesome. So I'm gonna try to go big with it. We can't go too big. I don't want to make the book like $1,000 a copy, but it's gonna be awesome.
Well, you know what? If you need some marketing done on it, let me know. I'm there for you, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem at all. I'll do what I can to help. I mean, hey, that's the least I can do because Lewis has already got the stick figure thing going. So, I mean, I can't do that as well. It's just too
Yeah,
weird
so I
having
mean,
both of
we
them.
do need a stick figure variant. If somebody wants to do a pixelated variant, I mean, we can really get creative with this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we can have some fun with this. I mean, you know, I can do a pantsless variant. I just don't know how well that's going to be taken by the community on this entire book. You know,
You never know. And if you do a pantsless variant, don't forget to put the slice of pizza on that lift up crotch underwear. You know,
this is
we got
very,
to go
very
with
true.
we got to go with the pantsless pizza. I mean, you can't leave that out. Yeah, don't even see. Look at that.
Russell, it has been great having you on here, and we've had a ton of information. We've gone through a lot of things. We're definitely looking forward to Xenonanonite Titan. Yeah. Yeah, definitely looking forward to the book. And looking forward to
say it with me slowly.
Xenonanite.
Nanite.
See, I want to say nanonite. That's what throws me off.
Yeah, it's Xenonanite.
Xenonanite. Okay, got it.
Do I need to put a dash in there for you? Do I need to change it?
Hey, we're definitely looking forward to it. If I can pronounce it or not, at least I'll know. Hey, give me Russell's book. That way, it's very easy to get. Uh, we're having fun with this. We're definitely looking forward to having more fun with you in the future. And I know you're going to be in all the shows, just having a blast and making the rest of us smile. And hopefully, we're doing the same with you as well, because that's what this should be about: is try to have some fun with your fellow people, have some fun with them, make them smile. You get a smile a day, then you're actually winning. There is no failure in that.
That's
So just
right.
kind of keep that in mind.
You can have all the money in the world. It doesn't mean you're happy, you know. So, and that's like I said, what I set out to do with this book. I want people to feel a story and feel inspiration from it. And that's, at the end of the day, if that's all I get out of this book, I'm happy with that.
Absolutely. Well, if you want to go ahead and give us one last shout out on Audibly where we can find you, I'll have these links on here as well. But if you want to go ahead and let them know so they can find you.
If you want to add me as a friend on Facebook, if you're not already my friend, you can find me, Russell Allen. There's also my author page, Russ Explode Studios. And my website I will have up on my page at the end of the show is Xenonanitetitan.com. There is a store available on there. I just got one thing up right now, just because that way it's not blank. But
Absolutely.
oh man, I forgot.
What's that?
I had giveaways, and they're sitting right in front of me.
Uh-oh, what are we giving away? All right, how do you want to do this? Because
So,
I can do Demon Says, or we can do something else.
or we can do something else. How about I ask a question? So,
Okay.
my favorite anime, Full Metal Alchemist. What are the two main characters' names?
Oh, did y'all hear that? So Full Metal Alchemist is his favorite anime. What are the two main characters' names?
And no, you can't say the Elric brothers because that doesn't count.
Just go ahead and put it in here as soon as you get an answer. I know somebody's probably be Googling this thing.
See what happens when I get talking. I forget.
There we go. And I knew it was going to be. There you go.
Yes, Eve. That's correct. So which one would you rather have? The one with the straw? Hold on. Let me figure out how this goofy camera works. Would you rather have the big 30-ouncer with the swivel top, or would you rather have the smaller one? Hold on. Let me figure this out. Or would you rather have a smaller one with a straw?
Well, she's always drinking something over there, so it's probably the big one, I would say, but I'm waiting for her answer on that one.
Wow, there's so much delay on this.
Eve, I don't know if you heard or not. He's asking which one do you want, the large one or the small one? There we go. The bigger, the better.
Bigger, the better. That's what she said.
Yep.
All right.
Excellent. Now, Eve, we do ask that whenever you get this, if you will go ahead and tag Russell in this and do a live opening, so we can all enjoy it.
More?
Oh, absolutely. Go right ahead.
All right. And we're going to do one more for the one with the straw.
Okay.
So you got any good questions you can ask?
Well, I can't say who the greatest artist is because then Steph's going to be all over that one. So we got to think of something different than that one.
Different from that one. You know, I had questions thought up like last week, and I should have wrote them down. Isn't that terrible? What can you do, right?
Let me think here. Okay.
Season Weevu.
We already have the website that is linked on here, so you can click on it and go directly over there. First person who comes back with all 4 names of the artists involved will win. How's that sound?
Sure, sounds good.
All 4 artists that are currently involved in the project.
My phone's gonna blow up though. Because I'm using Wix, and so Wix lets me know when somebody gets on my website.
All right.
So you might hear a bunch of doo-doo, 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 doo-doo.
We've already mentioned who the 4 are. If you'll go on there and look it up and then come back with the 4 artists listed on here, first one to do it gets the other container there.
Yeah, I like Lewis. He says she needs to do a live opening. You have to put liquor in it and chug.
Steph says, crap, I know 2 of them. Well, yeah, of course you know 2 of them. That's why I chose this question, so that everybody's on an equal playing field.
LOL who? I know 3.
We still don't have an answer. Come on, we got all 4.
Can't use liquor. She's going to use apple juice. With her Marie Callender's chicken pat pie.
I didn't know, Eve. It's my pat pie. You must make my avatar. Okay?
Is it dinging over there yet? Are they looking?
I don't think anybody's got on there yet. Maybe you need to flash the website back up there again.
I thought I already had it. Let me see. All right, website is back up. This is the website you need to go to. And the artists are listed on there, so you just need to come back with all 4 artist names on here. First one with all 4 artist names wins the prize.
Steph, Wendy, Ed. Come on, you're only one short, Steph. You can do it. I believe in you. You have the power of the circle template.
You can do it.
You can do it. You can do it all night. Yes, I feel special. Eve saved her final pot pie for this moment. Hopefully she has pants on this time so she doesn't burn her thighs. Or we're going to have to get some pantsless pizza branded crotch cream, you know, for the thighs and the inside of the legs when you're eating like the pizza and the cheese drips on you. That's never a good thing.
We're going to have a whole line of stuff in Pantsless Pizza. I can already see this happening.
Yeah, pantsless pizza, crotch cream, pantsless pizza underwear for our pantsless variant. I mean, we can market it on there.
Oh, yes. Oh, wait a minute. We have a winner. Michael got it. Steph Wilson, Wendy Steen Shaner, Chris McJunkin, and Finn Edwards.
Way to go, Michael.
Congratulations.
And I got one more I'll give away, and it's an easy question because I've only said it like 100 times. What is the name of the series that inspired me most when I was a kid by Brian Jakes? I'll take either of the first books because one's a prequel book and one's actually the beginning, but they go by both names. So if somebody can answer that, I have one of these in the cool lightning that I'll give away. Yeah, Mike gets a new tape gun. That's right, Ed. That is right. Sound the alarms. So Brian Jakes, what is the name of either one of the books I mentioned earlier today that inspired me the most when I was younger?
I got to put this up here. Just saw it looking for these artists.
You can't win twice, Mike. Stop cheating. That's right. It is on the website, too, under my inspirations. I forgot about that.
That is very true.
Oh, come on, Steph. Squeeze it out.
Oh, I don't know. Lewis is close.
Green eggs and government cheese. Isn't that the same thing? Isn't green eggs and government cheese the same thing? Because they both stink. Oh, come on, Steph. Squeeze it out. You got the beginning of both of them.
I know.
I'll be so disappointed in you if you don't get this. Summon the inner circle. You can do it. I promise you, Sensei.
And Michael said, it's not cheating if I know the answer.
It is too cheating, you overachiever. Come on, Steph. You know it. Red or moss. You can't put them together. It's not a word. It's not red moss and it's not moss red. Tiffany, be quiet. What are you doing on here? Cheater. You can't win.
Although the shipping on that would be incredibly low.
That would be awesome. Come on. Somebody's got to know this. Yes, Brian Jakes is the author, but what are one of the two books that inspired me?
Yes. One of the two books by Brian Jakes.
Yes. Wendy got it. Good job, Wendy. The Red Wall series.
There it is. Yep.
Yes. And if you've never heard of it and you've never read it, I highly recommend you run out there, order Moss Flower off of Amazon or get it at the bookstore. It's like $5. It is one of the best books you'll ever read. I stand behind it 100%.
You got an entrepreneur over there.
I'm telling you. I trained her well. No, I'm just kidding.
Congratulations, Wendy. You got the last prize on that. So he will be sending that to you as well.
I'll get with
So-
you guys later and get your
Yeah.
addresses.
Anyone
Sorry
who
for
won,
making-
yeah, anyone who
sorry for
won
making
just
you
need to
run
make
over.
send messages and go ahead and get that, because we're not going to do the addresses directly on here.
Yeah, no, I'll get with you guys later. And sorry for making you run over. Totally my bad. I spent last night getting the rest of these together, and then I forget about them.
Oh, you're good. Not a problem at all. We had fun with this. I think everyone else had fun. They stuck around with this. I think we're all good. I have no problem with this. I'm easy going.
And shame on you, Steph. I did not forget that comment earlier about shame on me for a Chevy hat. Shame on you. And thanks to everybody for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. Sorry if I missed your comments. A lot going on for my first live. I promise to do better next time.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on as well. Plus, if any of y'all don't know, we have the unscripted Saturday nights, 11 p.m. EST on my YouTube channel only, because unscripted does not have the same censor ability that Facebook has. We'll put it that way. So we have a lot of fun, and there's quite a few of us that actually jump up on there, and we change out the panels of who's going to be talking up there and having some. I mean, we have a blast. So if you want to stop by and see it, or you want to join it, or whatever, then jump in there and we'll see what happens. But we had a great time. Definitely enjoyed you being here, Russell, and hopefully we'll be able to have you here again here pretty soon. It was a blast. I could keep you on here so much longer on this, but we're going to go ahead and not delve too deeply into your brain, because that can get kind of scary, I'm sure. It's kind of like getting into the brain of a demon. So we're not going to get there.
Yeah, we could go for hours. Trust me, I never run out of stuff to talk about. That's one bad thing about having a creative mind, because I can just keep going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. You'll be over there drooling on yourself, and I'll be like, just.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here, Russ, and we look forward to seeing you the next time. And we definitely want to know updates on the book, and want to know when it's coming out, what's going on with it, and when you need those stick figure drawings from Lewis.
Definitely will do. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it again. You have a great evening.
You too.
All right. So we had Russell up on here. We had a blast with this. I always end these things with a closing moment on here. Tonight's not going to be any different on that. I never script anything. You never saw me writing anything. So I'm going to go ahead and just shoot from the hip on this one. And it's really simple. One word: regret. Now, whenever you think of the word regret, it can usually have negative connotations to it. But this time I want to go ahead and jump off of the positive. If you have a regret, then you have a chance to change that regret. You always want to go ahead and take care of your regrets. I have regrets. I mean, hey, demons here, yes, it's over here somewhere in the name, and I have demons that I fight and whatnot, and everyone does, but you don't want to have the regrets that go along with them. So the main thing is, if you have a regret, then you have an opportunity to go ahead and change that regret. Russell has had some regrets, and he is changing those regrets even amidst all of the stuff he's going through. And my respect level for the man has gone above and beyond, much more than I thought it was going to. So it's definitely there. And I certainly appreciate everyone for being here tonight, everyone who stuck it out through the entire thing, had some fun, learned some stuff, and showed some heart. I really appreciate y'all being here. Look forward to the next one. Until then, keep it indie, y'all.